Yeah, it was, if it's a good bye week, after you play the game. But came at a good time, honestly licking our wounds a little bit from the Central Michigan game. We just didn't see that coming. And so it really came at a good time to get some time away, to get refocused, to get guys healed up, and to have great energy, for our final three here, our final stretch. And, as you mentioned, playing Western this week, I honestly was underwhelmed with our team's energy or passion for the rivalry. And so I'm hoping to see it change, this week for the Western piece of the rivalry. And I think we're going to have a lot of energy and excited to finish. We've been talking about finishing ever since E60. Coach McKeefer brought that, to our off-season program in January, just the ability and the want to finish things. And so here we are in the last three games, and we need to. We need to finish strong, and we can, and we will. So excited about the challenge. We're playing a great team, and we didn't need to be inspired by anybody, but hard not to look at a 1-11 team that's doing as well as they are right now and not be inspired by that. I know that our guys are looking forward to it.
Any different approach they took with the second bye week than the first, or anything you did differently?
No, we liked how things went the first time. It was a chance for us to still practice. We went in the mornings again on Wednesday and Thursday morning, gave the guys Tuesday off, the rest of Thursday and Friday other than academic, appointments and whatnot. So it feels that we got some good rest, but we got some good fundamental work done. And then, in terms of the staff, we got some good recruiting work done.
CMU, when you look back on anything that bothered, outside of passion and energy, when you looked at that film, anything that you kind of saw that, was most concerning or thing that stood out most, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like a long time ago, but, we got beat on the line of scrimmage, and we knew they were going to be a physical team. I think, the passion and the energy goes into that and whatnot, but I just think, the line of scrimmages both ways didn't go the way we wanted them to.
And you talk about finishing strong, and, with this last kind of stretch of games, anything that do you look at this as a chance to evaluate maybe some different guys for next year? I mean, do you try to, is that in the back of your head at all? I mean, how do you kind of approach this final stretch, some of the goals out of reach, like a bowl game, do you try to kind of put in some younger guys and try some different things?
Yeah, I mean, if we were to play somebody differently, it would be because we felt as though they were going to give us a chance to be successful. We're going to finish the season and finish it strong. You're always you need to always be in the present and always building towards the future. And I think that you can do that simultaneously. I think you can do that right. I think that you can neglect it either way as well. And so, we want to strike that perfect balance of doing everything we can to keep closing the gap, keep getting better, to be successful, each of these last three games. But there's no question that everything we do, when we're doing things right, that gives us a chance to build for the future.
Is there any point at which, because games are different than practice, and you're evaluating guys in practice every day, but, trying to get some guys in game film that, might not have played? I mean, I know you want to try to keep the presence, but I mean, is there any point at which you try to say, see how a guy plays in a game where, maybe he wouldn't know if you guys were, 63 or whatever?
Yeah, no, I don't expect that to happen. I think if a guy's ready, there are guys who can progress throughout the year, and their time has come, to get an opportunity and whatnot. We might try some, different looks and different personnel groups and whatnot. But we are. It's 2014, and I feel as though we still have a lot of football ahead of us.
And injury-wise, I mean, did Bell go through the concussion? Was it a concussion officially, and then did he have to go through the protocol? How does that work?
Right. Yeah, he's still going through the protocol, and so we don't have a definitive answer. We're hopeful, and Brogan's been cleared, so we hope that we have all three quarterbacks, healthy, for the first time in I think 7 weeks or whatnot. So, but that has not been determined yet.
But it was officially a concussion, so he had to go through a
correct.
steps. And when can he get clearance for the game? Is it a day before kind of thing? How does that? When does he find out officially?
Well, it's all the protocol is all dependent on passing steps along the way. So you can't say it's 5 days or 7 days because you have to incrementally pass the daily steps, and so we'll see. We'll see more today. I know that he'll be with the trainers again today.
Is there, with somebody that's younger, who's, freshman, how do you balance, I mean, obviously, if he's not cleared, but if he gets cleared, do you worry at all about getting that second concussion? What's the balance with, especially a guy that's a little bit younger and a quarterback, too, so it's going to take some,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that you worry more or less, by how old a guy is or anything like that. I mean, it's a brain injury, and so it's very serious, no matter who it is, how old they are, how much they play, and that's why you have experts, making decisions about whether they've been cleared or not. And so once they've been cleared, you can't be tentative, about it at all. I think that's when injuries happen, when guys in practice, games, when you're not all mentally locked in, when you're not in the flow of the game, if you're being tentative, that's when problems can arise. So, you got to go through the protocol and however long that takes, and then, when they're cleared, you just have to have full confidence. And now, as a player, if you're coming off a concussion, just because you're cleared, I think guys respond differently to that, and sometimes, hey, I've got to get in there and get tackled or make a tackle before I feel comfortable. I've seen that happen every way, but yeah, I mean, it's we don't want anybody to have a head injury.
And with the reps in practice, are they splitting up differently then? Because is he not able to do some of the stuff?
Well, yeah, I mean, so at quarterback, it's since we don't let those guys get touched anyway. To some degree, you can practice so many things without getting the full clearance of live because, we're not going to be live on the quarterbacks. So, yeah, I mean, that'll be, Tuesday afternoon, even though it's Monday midday, it's still a long ways away, in terms of knowing that. So, but we're hopeful.
And is he, if he's healthy, is he still at the top? I mean, would he get started?
Yeah, if he gets the clearance, then we would plan on starting him.
And do you put any importance to try to finish strong with him in particular on these last 2 games? Just because, it's kind of, he's young, so he has that.
Yeah, no, but I mean, it's not.
I mean, is it is that important,
Absolutely.
for him to kind of go in the offseason with, with some momentum and with some positive game?
Yeah, but you keep on referring to next year in the off season. I mean, we have an entire month of football left. I mean, we're not, from the get-go, close the gap, to me, trumps everything, and so people can say that, hey, even if we win out, we've had a losing season. I agree mathematically, but when you are measuring yourself against your potential, it's a whole different measuring stick. And so we're far from done, with this year in terms of continuing to close the gap and get better. There's a lot of football left. So, off season and next year and all that is a long ways away.
Other injuries, Spearman, are we going to see that? Are we going to, is that?
Yeah.
I think I ask every week.
I'm trying to think, maybe it was Sunday where he took another step forward, with the trainers and whatnot. But in terms of, fully being a part of practice and whatnot, we're not anticipating that again this week.
So at this point, still holding out hope, or just is he going to kind of get a medical red shirt, or?
Yeah, I mean, all along our intention was for him to come back, and play. And so, if he's not practicing early this week, then you're getting down to 2 games and all of that. And so, we're going to have to cross that bridge, if and when it comes. But we've all along have expected him to come back.
Anybody else out for this week?
There are still folks that have not been cleared. Trying to think off the top of my head. I mean, other than obvious guys who've been out and whatnot. Yeah, I don't think there's been anybody else off the top of my head that's just definitively out.
Okay. And just how players reacted. What did you get a sense kind of coming off that Central game and then the last week? How have you seen them respond?
Yeah, I mean, Wednesday mornings practice was really good. Thursdays was not as good. I don't think it had anything to do with Central. So I really fully expect. I can't wait to see the guys, this afternoon to get started. We're going to get out a little bit today and not go through a full practice or anything like that, but we're going to get outside. And I think that it's going to be, great energy. I'm excited about seniors, our seniors leading the charge these last 3 weeks. And without even having been with them yet, it just seems like there's maybe a little more with the Western game than there is with the Central game. That's just from my outside, feel to it at this point.
With Western, they got that quarterback, freshman. So what do you see from him, and what's the challenge that he presents?
He's a big challenge. He's a big kid, physical kid, runs hard. So he's got good speed. It's proven that he'll run away from some people, and they'll keep giving him the ball. I mean, he's gonna get his attempts, and they're primarily a zone team, which allows him to create things and see holes and attack. Attack on their guy beating our guy at a point of attack or on a backside cut back or something along those lines. So I tip my cap to him. I think he's impressive as a running back, and it'll be a challenge.
And from that Central game, what was the thing that you kind of wanted to get back to and focus on, or try to? So was it one thing that kind of jumped out for you and defensively?
The thing that jumped out is that we did the things that we had to do in that game at times to win the game, and we did not do those things consistently. There were missed tackles due to maybe an angle, a proper angle, and then just your finish at the point of attack. Guys that think a play is over and it's not. And then there were we pointed out a couple effort situations too where it wasn't full effort. So the consistency was the thing that lack of consistency is what really it boiled down to, because there were times in there where we played good football and stopped their run and stopped on fourth down or got off the field on third down or did what we are supposed to do to win a ball game.
When you're looking for consistency, do you try to get your players to kind of, some of the leaders to kind of step up and try to help, drive that, or do you use that for, is that a coaching thing? I mean, how do you kind of get that?
Probably twofold. We do need our players to be more consistent. We have to be, I think, intentional in terms of driving some of those things in the areas and where we are maybe less consistent. One of the things that we've talked about is we've played pretty good third quarter defense the last few weeks and not first quarter defense. And so that to me is that consistency of starting right and starting the way you want to is more on us. And so we've tried to address that, and would like to put a first quarter together that resembles our last two third quarters.
Have you got a sense of why that is, that the slow starts, on defense, allowed more points in that first quarter than probably most any before?
Yeah, you could say a couple things. One is that are we fully believing that we can play, and does that play with the team that we're playing, and does that take a couple series before we say, hey, wait a minute, we can play these guys? That's a question. I mean, that's something on the outside that you might look at and see. And then the second thing is just the term starting fast. Are we playing the fastest we can, at the onset of the game, or are we letting the game come to us, And so that second one is probably where our minds are at more right now, is playing as fast as we possibly can from the first snap, as opposed to settling into the game.
can you change your play calling to adapt to that? I mean, you try different things. I mean, is that something that you kind of look at and, try to change or, try to kind of prevent, how do you kind of try to approach that?
Yeah, there's a box on our call sheet that says when you need to settle down, what are you going to call? And there's weeks when that is a base defense, and there's weeks when that's a pressure.
Mm-hmm.
And so that answers your question. Can you make a call? If things are getting out of control, there are times when it makes sense to pressure somebody and send 6 and just play 0 man and get after somebody. And then there's times when it makes sense to just settle back, get in your base defense, get your eyes right. And so from week to week and opponent to opponent, you have to make that decision. What fits that given scenario. Our third quarter last week was we were settling down by pressuring.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And the last 3 weeks, what's the biggest thing you want to see out of the defense? Outside of consistency, anything that you're really kind of trying to hammer home here in this kind of final stretch of games?
Want to win. Yeah, want to win each of the games. If we have objectives and goals, on third down and how many points we give up. If we're 0 for 5, we have 5 of those. If we're 0 for 5 on those, but we win the ball game, then that's where we want to be. I will measure that first.
And offensively, what kind of challenges left for you guys on defense?
Well, I think they play a good team game between their offense and their defense, and they've been getting the ball back to their offense. And it seems like when they get you down, they turn up the heat even more and really force you to have to make some plays. And they've separated themselves in all but 1 or 2 games. So the challenge for us is to we understand with their offense putting up quite a few points right now. So we got to match that, and we got to bring some intensity. We got to start fast, and we've been good at that at times throughout the year. Obviously, the last game against Central, we really struggled with that, and that was just a consistent theme throughout the game, not just at the beginning.
How have you evaluated the passing game? I mean, you guys are doing better, but it seems like drops have kind of plagued you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Last week there was probably a few too many. I mean, have you noticed anything? Obviously, quarterbacks can play the ball a little better, receivers can.
Yeah.
But have you noticed any kind of pattern with those? Why does it seem to bother you guys?
Yeah, no, I think the pattern is when we are in obvious pass down situations, it's hard for us. When we are able to mix it up and guys are making just simple plays and putting us ahead of the chains in good down and distance situations, then the passing game seems to click and be a part of our whole just movement of the football. And so, it's everything. It's when you're in the game and it's a battle, and it's also when the down and distances are in your favor. That's when we've had success. When the game gets out of our reach, and we're trying to really press it and pass, play after play, that's when we struggle. Just one element has broken down. So our job is to just make sure on first and second down we do a good job, so that on third down we can execute. I think we did a great job of that against Northern Illinois, and allowed us to be 10 for 18 on third down and some great pass throws and completions in those situations. And then last week it was more third and long, obvious pass down, and now we're struggling, in one facet, whether it's protection, getting separation, throwing, catching, the drops that you're talking about. So, that's kind of the way I feel in the pass game. I think there's been improvement, and there's been, now we just got to have the consistency.
And how did you, Rob, Rob had come in, and how did you kind of, what you talked to him about this week, and where does he need to kind of focus on anything?
Yeah, I thought Rob he had a gutty performance, the way he came in, and he obviously doesn't get as many reps as Reggie, but with the first group, and he took some hits. We were a little thin up front. We lost 3 guys in the course of about a week and a half, and so we were a little thin up front, and so just the whole passing game struggled, just with him trying to get some time, and the clock's ticking pretty fast in his head, and I thought he played pretty gutty because he held there in the pocket and made some throws when he knew he was going to take some hits. So I'm proud of him. And he's going to keep getting better, and he brings it every day. with the intentions of improving as a football player.
How tough was that? I mean, I know Val and Rob could both run, and, you know, they're kind of similar in that they could do both, but, you know, lose Val in the first, you know, possession. How tough was that for the offense? Just when you're coming into the game, you got, you know, set things. How tough is it to lose your starter right at the top?
Yeah, I think that we've gotten to the point where we had some consistent play out of Reggie now for 3 games or so, 4 games, where you kind of get some familiarity, and we don't huddle, but you know what I mean. When we break out onto the field, you see the guy that calls the first play, and you know who's out there, you know, taking the snap. And I think, you know, no matter who our backup was or who our starter was, when you get used to that familiarity, and now he's gone, I think it takes the wind out of your sails a little bit. And so, you know, I think it hit us a little bit. But you know, I thought Rob was ready, and you know, he played well, you know, in the times that he could to help us move the ball.
And Reggie, you know, what do you get a sense? You know, I don't know if he's had any kind of major injury in high school or anything like that. Or, you know, how do you kind of see him reacting to this, and just, you know, first concussion? I don't know if this is his first concussion, but still, you know, how do you get a sense that he's kind of handling this last week and a half?
Yeah, that's a really good question, actually. It's kind of one I'm wondering, too, you know, as we get to know each other. And like you said, this is the first time really through it. And, you know, I think he's a football player. He just loves to play the game. And once he gets out there, I don't think he'll think anything of it. That's the way, I guess, you know, I'm feeling it's going to be. But, you know, we'll see. But I just think he's a gamer. And, you know, he gets out there and he's, you know, making people miss and delivering the ball, you know, throwing it all around. You know, I don't think that enters into his mind.